Husayn is a man whose story has transcended generations and borders for over 1300 years. Husayn's selfless pursuit for moral justice in the face of brutal oppression has inspired hope for millions. The Battle of Karbala, where Husayn and his 72 loyal companions bravely stood against an army of thousands, forever changed the course of history. Husayn was born in 626 AD in the city of Medina to the noble family of the Prophet Muhammad. He was raised by a family renowned for their honesty, compassion, and justice.
He was revered and celebrated by people from different walks of life. Every lover of truth and every lover of justice loved Husayn alayhi salam. And this, no doubt, began way back while they were in the holy city of Medina.
The values that he adopted as a child were the values that he learned as he grew up. And he grew up in the holiest of houses. He grew up with his grandfather, the Prophet.
As a young child, Husayn witnessed his grandfather's struggle to establish a morally just and compassionate society.
They embraced a very sincere life, a very humble life. They prioritized charity, giving, and working to improve the societies they were in.
Arabian society was plagued by violence and corruption. Muhammad's rise and the advent of Islam eradicated much of this injustice, and the people had widely adopted a moral way of living. In 632 AD, the Prophet Muhammad passed away, devastating a young Husayn. What followed after would impact Husayn in ways he could not yet comprehend. Shortly after the Prophet's death, the leadership of the newly formed nation fell into dispute. Divisions amongst the people emerged, and a violent power struggle fractured the nation for over 30 years, which led to a lengthy civil war between Husayn's father, Ali ibn Abi Talib, and Muawiyah.
Muawiyah, who was originally from a tribe or clan which had in the early years opposed the Prophet's message and Islam, took power. Started off from his power base in Syria, in Damascus.
Ali ibn Abi Talib was assassinated, and Muawiyah assumed full control. Choosing to avoid further conflict, Husayn's elder brother, Hassan, made a treaty with Muawiyah, which would prevent Muawiyah from passing on rule to his son, amongst other things.
These clauses of the truce were basically violated, and the ultimate expression of that violation was the actual assassination of Hassan himself around 10 years after that.
Having violated the treaty, Muawiyah allowed his son Yazid to take over the power. Yazid was widely regarded as a tyrannical and cruel narcissist who wanted to rule with an iron fist. Yazid sought the allegiance of Husayn to cement his claim to power and gain credibility.
One of the needs, one can say, of an oppressive regime is the need for legitimacy. And the important sources of that legitimacy has to come from prominent members of the society who are respected for their high morals to support them.
Having witnessed years of injustice and the steady moral decay of his society, Husayn knew he had to draw a line with Yazid to prevent the total collapse of the nation to the hands of a despotic tyrant. Husayn refused to pledge allegiance to Yazid.
In one sense, he was very divisive, but usually when people fight for justice, they are divisive. Usually it divides the community, those in favor of what is right and those who are not. And so in his very divisiveness, he was really making a stand that separated the good from the bad, the just from the unjust.
Fundamentally, Husayn is not interested in the fight. He's not interested in taking to battle, but rather he's interested in making people aware of what's actually going on in the world, how things have changed since the demise of the Prophet.
Not being able to get an endorsement from Husayn, Yazid threatened to assassinate Husayn. Wanting to avoid violence, Husayn left his home and travelled to the city of Mecca. Here, Husayn sought to rally the people and delivered a passionate sermon rebuking the community leaders who had failed to stand against Yazid, saying, "You have taken lightly your duties as leaders. You have neglected the rights of the oppressed and the lowly, but have assiduously pursued what you regard as your personal rights."
His moral justice was quite a simple issue. It was that we must be willing to take a stand and even die for what is right, that there can be no compromise. And I think it's that refusal to compromise, and he was made a number of offers by the people in power to compromise, to turn back, to try a different route. This refusal to compromise, even in the face of great personal danger, that for me is the key to the morality, the ethics of his justice.
Most leaders, they will remain in their comfort zones and send their people to go and do the work. They will call for justice, but they will not be on the ground or in the field to promote justice. Imam Hussain did not do that. Imam Hussain alayhi salam led from front.
Husayn had received hundreds of letters from the residents in the city of Kufa, present-day Iraq, pledging their support in the struggle against Yazid. As the threat of violence increased, Husayn departed from Mecca, along with his family and loyal companions, and began the long journey towards Kufa. When Yazid became aware of Husayn's intention, he dispatched a brutal governor to quash the dissent, but Husayn persisted with his movement eastward. As Husayn got closer to Kufa, he was intercepted by a battalion of Yazid's army, led by a commander called Hur. Husayn, his family and companions were prevented from going any further and were forced to stop in a dry desert land known as Karbala.
Hur and his entourage of forces came. His horses and his soldiers were thirsty. Husayn offered them water. He did not say, "These people are here to monitor me and to make life difficult for me and to block my way." He gave them water.
Husayn's selfless act of kindness was to be met in turn with a cruel response by Yazid's army, who proceeded to surround Husayn's camp and cut off the water supply. Husayn, his family, and small army of around 72 were left thirsty for 3 days in the blistering heat.
Husayn said something which rings very true for the human condition. He said, "Human beings are slaves to the world. As long as our situation is fine, we have food, we have water, we have money, we have the basics, people will profess their beliefs, they will profess their religion on their tongues. But when people are tested, when people are tried, very few people remain who are sincere and devoted."
On the eve of Ashura, Abu Abdullah gathered all his companions and he asked for the candle to be switched off. So it was put off. And he said to his companions, "I am the target, you are not the target."